Wepa, what up, mi gente? Welcome to a brand new Al Mega Podcast, the A.M.P. Today we have a wonderful guest. My man is busy, right? He has a huge family, but because of that, he is a family first entrepreneur. He's an astrophotographer. He is a student pilot. He is a consulting expert. He is a CEO. He is a podcast. I mean, how does a man with this big of a family keep so busy and still make time? We're going to find out today. Let me introduce the one, the only, the very talented and possibly cloned Jay Aigner. Wepa, how you doing?
My brother, how are you, man? What an intro. Wow, that might be the best one I'll ever get. I love that. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming through. Yeah, I'm inspired. My God, big family, big business. You know, we only have 24 hours in a day, and you apparently know how to manage that time. And I'm definitely curious. Like I said, are you cloning yourself? Is Jay Aigner doing things we don't know with science? We'll find out on this podcast. No, well, thank you again. All right, so let's get into it. For people that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background, where you hail from, and those early interests that got you started as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, man. I'm from Virginia originally, middle of nowhere, Virginia. I was not allowed to be bored. My mom would be like, I'll find something for you to do. And you don't want mom to find something for you to do. So it was always something, clean out the horse barn or whatever. So, yeah, man, I always found something to do. I got into the internet at an early age. I was making websites for my mom. Her business, she had an advertising agency. She had a big ass printing press in the dining room that was like the size of like a car. She would like print newspaper. She did all sorts of stuff, man. So I got to see that growing up. Made websites for her advertising business clients, making $1,000 at 12 years old. You think you're big time. So I think it got started early, and then I wanted to make video games because I thought that was cool. And then I went to school to be a programmer and realized game industry sucks, man. It's not a fun place to work. It's very high stress. It's very cutthroat. So I kind of, cut my teeth doing a bunch of different testing stuff, software QA stuff, instead of doing programming, and jumped into the startup world and never looked back, man. And then got into doing consulting, built my own business, and now I'm a CEO and been doing that for about 6 or 7 years, and I could not live life any other way.
Beautiful. So how did that journey inspire that consulting firm that started leading you on that way to be that CEO?
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody all the time, like, you probably have the experience to go consult right now, right? Like, there's something you've done in your past. You can go talk to somebody, and they'll pay for it. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah, I got something. I don't know if you see it, but right here, I have a friend telling me, Al, you've been doing this for quite a while, and he was picking my brains like, why the F are you not consulting? What's wrong with you, Al?
You should be doing it. Everybody should be doing it, man. Like you got people will pay you more money by the hour to do something that only you know how to do, or not a lot of people know how to do, than going to work somewhere 9 to 5. And let me tell you something. The whole like I need healthcare insurance and that's so expensive, and it's the biggest excuse everybody uses in the world. I need benefits. I need really, because you can make a lot more money if you're out consulting and you're making your own money, your own decisions, you're your own boss, than sitting around stuck somewhere because you need healthcare benefits. I pay for 5 kids, and my wife's pregnant with number 6. So like I know about healthcare bills, and I know about having to have your own healthcare, and people use that as a big excuse. So and I was afraid of it for the longest time too. So then I finally shook that off and just started to build my business.
Yeah, the system tricks you into thinking that you need all that. It's just the way that, unfortunately, some people are brought up, so they're scared. Again, family teaches them, you need a job, you need that insurance.
Yeah.
So it's just a thing, and hopefully people will start getting over that and realize that they can get in their own feet again with internet, with AI now. I mean, it's floodgates of opportunity, folks. at
Yeah.
this very moment that people just don't understand. All
Yep.
right, so I want to know that how did you evolve though from software testing agency to consulting firm? You know that evolution. What was that moment that you said, "This is what I'm going to do"?
So I started doing consulting, and I was doing it on Upwork, and it was a great place. It's a different world now. But I started to pick up contracts, man. I started to do exactly what I've said. I started to pick up, hey, we need a QA person. And I raised my hand. I said, I'm that guy, right? So, and I got that contract, and I got another one, I got another one, I got another one. And then I couldn't say no to money. And I started bringing people that I knew and said, hey, man, I have this contract, but I don't have the time to do it. Can you do it for me? And when the first time that somebody said, I'll pay you 50 an hour, and I realized I could pay somebody 25 an hour, and I was getting $25 an hour to not work. Light bulb went off, and I was like, this is it. Why isn't everybody doing this? Why? And then, it just grew from there, man. I just started kind of adding pieces to the puzzle, figuring out what the hell a business was. I don't have an MBA. I just figured out, how to sell stuff, how to market, what my product was, what the pain points of my customers are, and really understanding like how do you provide high quality service, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you in business is providing. I mean, you can make short-term money being a scam artist or not really providing a lot of value. But if you want repeat customers and you want people to talk about you and you want referrals and you want to grow a business, like you have to provide really good service. So that was kind of the evolution, was realizing that I could farm some of this work out and start to buy, be paid for it. And then eventually started buying my time back by hiring other employees to do the day-to-day stuff that I was doing, right? Like we have a great operations layer. I have a great team of assistants that like do all the scheduling and all the everything that needs to be done. That frees me up to go sell, to do marketing, to be on podcasts like this, and just go out there and grow the business.
That's awesome. So, all right, so share some key milestones in your journey to growing your agency to 2 million annual revenue. Come on now. Awesome.
The key milestones would be, that first hire of bringing somebody on to do the work for me and not being a solopreneur, which I hate that word, by the way. The next milestone I think would be my chief operating officer, who's still my chief operating officer today, was working for me part-time. She said I could go get a raise at my current job, and go stay at that 9 to 5 and work for you part-time, or come work for you full-time. And at the time I didn't have anybody, I wasn't paying anybody directly from my company, my payroll, right? I was just making money from that margin in between.
Mm-hmm.
And it was by far the best decision we've ever made, right? So bringing on an incredible C-level executive was another milestone. And then, obviously like the monetary milestones, hitting 500, hitting a million, hitting 1.5, hitting 2, like all those are great milestones, but really they're just like moments in time. They come and go. Like the hiring good people or landing a really great client or having a great experience with the client, like those are the ones that stay around for a while. So the more recent one has been just figuring out how to use assistants properly, like how to use virtual assistants. I only call them virtual assistants. I feel like that's a phrase from like the 90s, but like once we handed off everything, as far as scheduling and booking podcasts like this and doing a bunch of different stuff, that was a big milestone for us, where I didn't have to sit down and find people to go talk to or get my email account every day and like look people up and reschedule stuff and find times on calendars and all that stuff. So that was another big milestone for us, was just being able to delegate successfully. And that's a huge milestone, I think, for a lot of businesses.
That's wonderful. And so, yeah, another big milestone of yours is being a family first entrepreneur. And just hearing you about what you're doing now, how is it that you balance that business and personal life?
You got to have a good partner in crime, man. You got to have a, I was having lunch with somebody a few months ago, and he said, "Your wife must really trust you, man." And I never really thought of it like that, but like she did, she trusted that I could get it done if she spent the time, doing doctor visits and scheduling the hockey tournaments and doing all this stuff. So having a good partner, I think is key. Finding time for yourself is another big one. I get up at 5 a.m, and I do that not so I can say that I get up at 5. I do that so my kids aren't up. I actually get a jump on the day and try to spend a little time on myself, working out, meditating, doing all the things I got to do to get ready for the day. And then, by 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm ready to take on the world, man.
Isn't that something that you kind of just do? You call it your 5 for 5?
It is now. I do it now. It's a habit. I always used to think habits were like very specific, like, I don't know, like brush your teeth is a habit, but like you can get in a habit of doing anything. So it's a habit now. I get up at 5 and I do all those things, work out, meditate, stretch, journal, do all that stuff every day. And like I said, if I can get that all done by the time the sun's still coming up, man, like how can I have a bad day after that? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to do it, but you get the shitty stuff out of the way first, right? I get it done. I get it out of the way. I'm done.
I think we grew up in that generation of that old school Army commercial. Get stuff done, more stuff done by most people before by 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yep. I wish I'd done it earlier, man. I saw those commercials, but I was sleeping through them most of the time.
Oh, damn. I was up early once and said, damn, all right, yeah, let's go. I've been an early bird and always still am. Look, all right, so I mentioned something before, too, because again, just to add to all the things you do, you're quite interesting, my brother. All you gotta do is grow a white beard and start selling liquor. You could be the next most interesting man in the world type. So, because you're also an astrophotographer, how did you even get into that? And what's your most favorite celestial object to capture?
Great question. There was a comet a few years ago, Neowise, that you could kind of see with the naked eye. You could see with binoculars and stuff. And I took some like smudgy picture of it, and it just kind of made me interested in like what you could do. And so I bought, actually the camera I use today is the camera that I started doing astrophotography with. It's a little Canon Rebel T6, just a little Canon camera. And I took a little smudge shot of Andromeda. And I'm a big community builder guy. Like it took me a long time to realize it, but it's a very gatekeeping kind of hobby where there's an old bunch of rich white dudes who don't want to help anybody with the hobby. They're just a bunch of assholes, and you try to figure out like what, how do I do this? How do I do whatever? And so I found a couple of people on Reddit and a couple other places, and I started a group, and now we have like almost 1,400 people from around the country, around the world, all a bunch of astrophotography nerds that like talk about the stuff. We talk about our process. We share pictures together. We do whatever. I mean, I have a big, telescope that's bigger than my desk outside. It's all run from a computer inside the house. My favorite celestial object, it's a great one. I would say there's these two nebulas called the Heart and Soul Nebula, and they actually look like, one looks like a heart, and there's one that you could kind of envision being a soul. And they're, hundreds of millions of light years away, but somehow in the sky, they're right next to each other when you're shooting them. And you can actually shoot them together. And it's just one of those like wild, coincidental things that like is a real thing, but it looks like somebody, painted it up there in the sky. It's cool, man. I should have linked my Instagram, dude. Aigner Astro on Instagram. That has all my astrophotography stuff on it.
Okay, I love that. Going to the beach here in Rhode Island was the first time that, like at nighttime, it was a beautiful, clear night, and you could see everything. Yeah. I wish, I didn't have a camera then, but I was just in awe. Yeah. And then just the other day, while I'm in my backyard over here, I had the freak out of my life. I was listening to music through my phone, had it down, and I look up to the sky. And Jay, I saw like multiple lights in the sky. They go in a circular motion. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm trying to grab my phone. I'm hey, come on, all this government talking like, okay, they landed in mass. What's going on?
They picked your backyard, buddy.
Yeah, by the time I tried to take a picture, it was gone. I said, damn. And I told my brother, my friends, that like, you bugging, go to sleep. I said, no, I know I saw something. So I looked it up. Apparently, it was the Starlink satellite.
Yeah, dude, they're weird looking, aren't they? They're wild, like
I
one
did
after the
not
other.
know.
It's crazy.
I did not know, bro. Let me tell you. I was like, oh, I'm a comic book fan, sci-fi fan. I'm only gonna think the worst is gonna happen at that moment.
Oh,
Not the best,
right, of
you know.
course. Yeah, it's a wild thing, man. It definitely is a scary thing if you're not expecting it.
All right, so besides checking out the stars, you also like to soar the skies as a student pilot. Geez, you look at this guy. It's like this is Hal Jordan right here. So, what motivated you to pursue aviation? Any memorable flying experiences? Have you seen UFOs?
I've not seen UFOs. I hate flying commercial. I still get scared. I don't like it. And I always hated it. And I thought it would be so cool to be a pilot, man. And you can do these things, but I saw this list like years ago on Reddit, and it's like top things you can do for $100 that'll like change your life or whatever. And one of those things was go to your local airport and sign up for a discovery flight. And you can look them up. Look at any local airport near you. You can call them up and say, "Hey, I'm going to do a discovery flight." They'll take you up. They'll fly you around. They'll let you fly a little bit. You're not really. I mean, whatever. Whatever. And that was it. I got hooked, man. And I've got 70 hours logged now. I've done my solo stuff. Like probably the coolest memory was doing my solo stuff by yourself, and like you see flocks of birds and stuff like underneath you, and you're like flying at 5,000 feet by yourself in this little tin can. You feel like a Wright brother, man. It's a wild, and it is. I'm not scared when I'm up there. Maybe it's a control thing, maybe it's a whatever. It doesn't even feel real. Like if you look down, like it doesn't even look like there's like no way that you're 5,000 feet off the ground in like this little box, that's flying around. So, yeah, I love it. I haven't gotten my pilot's license yet. I was really close before my daughter was born, my last daughter. But I got a couple things to do to wrap it up. I just flew through my instructor took me to the Hudson Corridor, which is right up the Hudson River next to Manhattan, and I could almost like touch the buildings, dude. It was crazy. Like I couldn't even believe we were allowed to fly there, dude. And so he took me up for my birthday a couple months ago. We flew straight up through New York, and it was incredible.
Oh wow! Look at this guy. I mean, what's next? Are you gonna learn how to find a flying saucer and stuff? This guy does it all. Does it all. I love it. All right. So what advice would you give to some aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start their own consulting or even tech-related business, especially now?
I call it the friends and family plan. I hear about it all the time from successful entrepreneurs on how they started their business. They reach out to their network, man. Like if you have an idea, if you have a service, if you want to consult, if you've been working in some industry you think you can consult in, reach out to your network, your friends, your family. Say, hey, I'm doing this now. Do you know anybody that'd be interested? And like 99% of the time, you will find somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. They'll give you a shot, and you just got to start. You got to start doing. I say it all the time. The most critical part of all of it is doing it. Like anybody can talk about it. I mean, I still do all the time. I do all this stuff, but like I still say a bunch of shit that I'm gonna do that I just don't do. And like if I could just do it, I'd be even better off. But yeah, you got to reach out to your friends. You got to reach out to your family, your network, and you got to start. That's the biggest thing.
Do you believe in the proof of concept type of stuff in consulting, meaning where I maybe take on my first client or two for free to show the value, and get evangelical, or should I just,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what else? I mean, if you can go to the next person and say, hey, I'll do that for $100 an hour, you can go ask Al. I just did it for him and he loved it. Wasn't that worth you doing it for free for that first person? I mean, you got to get social proof, man. Like having that backlog of feedback and positive reviews, and just like, even if they're not like on their website or anything, just you can say it, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. I hear it all the time. It's like, why are people successful that are in consulting? They've been doing it for a while. It's because they've been doing it for a while, and they can say, go talk to this guy, ask that guy, or even better, have that guy introduce you to the next guy, right? And there's no better way to continue your career than having a client that's happy with you introduce you to your next client, because then there's no barrier. It's a super warm intro, and you're off to the races, from the jump.
Ooh, wonderful, wonderful. So, did you face any challenges in your journey, that you learned from in becoming a business leader? And if so, how did you overcome those particular challenges?
Don't have a kid at 19 in college. It's probably the first.
Wait, you started at 19?
Yeah, that's why my oldest is
Still have
18.
black beard. Look at you. Jeez.
It's getting gray, man. It's getting. I'm graying up here. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of challenges, but I mean, I've been lucky, man. I think failure it's like such a cliche thing, but it has not been an option. It's never been an option. Like, you can't, like, what else? What am I going to do? When I had my kid when I was 19, what am I going to do? Not finish school and just like go live in a trailer park somewhere? Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to raise him, and I'm going to finish my career, and I'm going to, so yeah, I mean, lots of challenges, but I think just always looking down the road. Like, when you're driving, right? You're not looking right in front of you when you're driving, because you run off the road and, like, kill somebody. Like, look down the road, right? Always looking down the road for what's next. Same thing with flying, right? You're always looking far out. You're not looking right in front of you. So yeah, I mean, everybody has challenges. I've been lucky, I think, and haven't had nearly as many as other people, but just trying to stay positive and help people out when you can help them.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let me ask you, how do you see the future of the software testing industry, and what trends should businesses be aware of today?
Another great question. I think it's one of the industries that will not be overtaken by AI anytime soon. Mm-hmm. I think you're always going to need humans for context and for their ability to problem solve in a different way than AI can. I think that our jobs will be enhanced a lot with AI. I think that some automation stuff as far as testing applications and identifying things that are automatable and things that repetitious tasks over and over and over again. It's still kind of a pain, especially on mobile. It's just shocking to me that how rudimentary automated testing still is on mobile devices. Like, you have to physically like code the automated testing for like a web application. There's tons of like tools, like SaaS applications you can go on, you can record and play back what you're doing, and but for mobile, it's still, I mean, there's some, but it's still very rudimentary. So things like that, just making testing better. But I think, you're always going to need people. I think you're always going to need, good processes in place. So it's one of those things where it's just it changes with the times, no matter what you're doing, right? I mean, testing those big mainframe computers, 50, 60, 70 years ago, some of the same kind of concepts apply today, right? It's just being thorough. It's understanding what you're doing. It's understanding how the system works. Like, so a lot of the core concepts aren't going to go anywhere, but maybe some of the tools that are used to help people do it a little better, will be in our future.
Wonderful. All right. So, you also do a podcast, as I mentioned. Again, look at this, guys. You see this list? You just keep checking off boxes. The guy stays busy. So, share your experience as a podcast host and how that complements your role, as a business leader, as a CEO, family man.
I love being a podcast host. Somebody told me I should do a podcast a few years ago. I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And now,
same thing.
I think every podcast host says the same thing, man. I love it, though. It's great. You get to meet a lot of fun people. I think, when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing or what I wanted to do. It finally started to click and make sense as I went, like, developing a personal brand, which, is a thing. But then starting to use the podcast in different ways, like having guests on that are a little more aligned with my business, potential business personas, right? Like who I want to go after in my business, or people that are, if I, you know, if they're big in the tech scene, they may not be an actual client of mine, but they may share it with their feed that's going to be seen by people that are going to go, oh, that guy. And it's my podcast is sponsored, quote unquote, by my company, JDAQA. So it's free marketing. It's something I enjoy. It's another marketing channel, right? I mean, I say this on a lot of podcasts, like, if you only have one marketing channel, I don't think you're going to be very successful in business. So I think having multiple channels of marketing is really important. So it's just another channel for us, and it's been a really fun ride so far. And I feel really lucky that my team has basically been able to kind of step in and handle a lot of the post production and stuff for me at this point. But I was doing all that myself forever.
And of course, lastly, you also have a website over here. You're offering services. You got preferred partners. You got a bunch of information. So talk about the website, and the value folks who get here, and how, where they got to go to communicate. What are they seeing here at JDAQA.com?
Well, they're seeing old Fat J before I lost a bunch of weight and started working out again. So that's the number one thing you'll see. And my friends call me that, my Chubby J picture. No, it's first of all, shout out to Scott from Buddy Web Design. They redesigned my site a few years ago. It's just a quick overview of what we do. I mean, we're very straightforward in what we do. We do quality assurance for people, security, penetration testing, manual, automated testing, staff log, load, and performance stuff. So, reach out, go to the website, check out our process. It's very straightforward. We get to know you, your product. We'll scope you out a solution for you. And, we've been able to help a lot of startups and all the way up to enterprise with a lot of the things we do. So hop on, schedule discovery call, which I just got off of before I got on this call, and actually came from my website. So it's working, man. It's doing its thing.
Yeah, baby. And right there, proudly founded in the good old USA. Good stuff, keeping it home. Right there, look at that. And Philly, yeah, I got my little brother out there. So shout out to Philly. Although I'm not a fan of the Eagles, I bleed blue, but you can still be friends. It's okay, don't you worry.
We can still be friends. We'll be friends.
All right, into it. But folks, check out that website. You know what I mean? I've been showing off, as well as LinkedIn and the YouTube channel. The First Customer Podcast, and also the website firstcustomerpodcast.com. So before we go, Jay, I need to ask you, what qualities to you are essential for someone aiming to become a successful entrepreneur and business leader?
What characteristics? Don't be a dick. Be a good human being, man. I don't know. Most of the things in life have come to me because I tried not to be a dick, and I try to be a nice person. I try to help people out. I like to think of myself as a good leader, so I think being able to communicate is a cheap answer, but I think it's an honest one. I think, leading by example and being in the trenches with people for long enough, and they, you prove yourself out. You don't have to be there forever. If you're down in there doing the work, you're staying late nights, you're there early in the morning, you're showing up all the time, people are going to believe in you. It's going to make your life a lot easier having a team that supports you than trying to do everything yourself. So I think just learn how to be a good leader. I think that's it, man.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. So last question is, when can we listen to that podcast? When does it drop? Is it weekly, monthly, or
all the time? It's always live. No, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Find it on the firstcustomerpodcast.com. Find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff. How often do you drop your podcast?
Well, the app will be either weekly or every other week. But then with the Comic Crusaders podcast, it's just about weekly when they talk to comic book creators and people in publishing. Here, I keep this strictly for business leaders like yourself. Because again, us comic guys need to tone it down a little bit. We need to talk to business leaders and see how you guys have maneuvered, because creativity is also a business, isn't it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'll be checking that out for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Jay, for tuning in. And any speaking engagements coming up that we should be aware of? You're
gonna be yes.
You?
Online test conference, November 13th and 14th, sponsored by Practice Test. I will be talking about the hunt for Bigfoot, not the Bigfoot that you're talking. I know you get excited probably when I say Bigfoot, not that Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah, actually I have one on my desk here, but no, it's to talk about the fully automated testing setup that doesn't really exist. So that'll be in November. You can check that out. Go to practicetest.com and get the info. So that's it, man.
Fantastic. Well, there you go, folks. Check out Jay Aigner. I've been showing you all the links. They're also below. Show love. Ask questions. Is an amazing entrepreneur that makes time for his family, his business, podcast, photography, aviation, a whole bunch of stuff. Thank you, brother, for doing what you do and sharing in your story with us and speaking with others and sharing their story via your podcast. You're amazing, and folks, you know what it is. Check out the AMP, the almegapodcast.com. We got articles, news, comiccrusaders.com. If you're into comic books, movies, and stuff, we'll get that other geeky side of you as well. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Stay motivated. Wepa!